Hello, IELTS winners. In next 5 minutes or so, we are going to learn about how to write IELTS Task 1, a bar graph, and especially in scenarios where you are given three different graphs, as you can see here. So the first thing that you should do is you should analyze the question and see what the question is saying, and write your answer in these using this template. Start with an introduction, then give an overall picture, then talk about trends, comparisons, and highlight. And at the end, write the summary, which is optional. So you can see these milestones, which I've highlighted in the yellow color. So first of all, let's try to understand the question. The question says, the charts below show the levels of participation in education and science in developing and industrialized countries in 80s and 1980 and 1990. So it is a comparison between developed countries, which are called as industrialized countries, and developing countries. And it is with regard to participation in science and education. So that's what this graph is all about. So we can see there are three graphs. Now, how to write about it? So first thing that you will write is the introduction. Let's talk about one thing at a time. So introduction, when you write the introduction, don't have to do much. All you have to do is just paraphrase the question. Use the same structure, but just change the words. So you won't take a lot of time to write an intro. Like for example, here you can see it says the charts below show the levels of participation in education and science in developing and industrialized countries in 1990, 80, and 1990. What I've written is the three charts. So instead of charts, I have written the three bar graphs or the three bar charts depict the varying levels of participation, means different levels of participation, or depict the contrast in participation. So you can use those kind of terms, which means all you have to do is just paraphrase the question itself while writing the introduction. You don't have to spend too much time on it. Now, the second thing that you should do is write an overall picture. Why should you write an overall picture? You should write an overall picture because the question is asking you. It says summarize the information by selecting and reporting the main features, which means the question is asking you to summarize the information, and that's why you are starting writing the overall picture. Now, overall picture gives you a one line or two lines information about the three graphs. So whatever is the observation, as you can see, these black bars which represent industrialized countries are larger, and this is the case with all the three graphs, as you can see. So we can say this something which is like an overarching information, right? So here we have written, as shown in three graphs, participation of industrialized nations is significantly higher on all three parameters. So we can it is written there that I mean we can simply write something in a very precise manner here, that one liner definition of what three graphs are talking about, that is overall picture. The second so yeah, you can read it, and in fact this line is also added here, but it is not very important. Even if you write one line, that is enough. Okay, I mean, the second sentence, also participation by both classes has increased from 80 to 90, uh, except fund allocation. There should be a comma here, except fund allocation by this. So this is not very important. You can ignore this particular sentence, or even if you don't write it, is fine. You are supposed to be very precise while writing the graph, okay? The third thing that you are supposed to do after writing introduction and overall picture is to write the body. Now, when you write the body, you are supposed to make a comparison. You are supposed to talk about trend, comparison, and highlight. The confusion which participants face is how to write about so much of information, where to start, how to go about it. Now, organizing information and content is so very important. How to organize? Start with the first graph. So this first paragraph is devoted to the first graph. Now, when you talk about the second and third graphs, you can make comparisons. While writing about the first graph, you are not supposed to make any comparisons. While writing about the second and third graph, you can draw comparisons and tell what you are supposed to, what kind of comparisons or contrasts that you can draw. So you will see, you can read these paragraphs and you'll find that in the first paragraph there is just a clear-cut depiction of what is written, what is shown in the first graph. But while talking about the second and the third graph, we are drawing comparisons. Like you can see the paragraph itself starts with similarly, and similar trends were recorded, which means we are drawing comparisons. You can read this as to see as to understand how the comparisons are drawn and how the content is presented. Now the last point which I want to make here is about the summary. When you write the summary of the graph, it is, remember that this is optional. Even if you don't write the summary, it's absolutely fine. Look, I have written this 184 words. So around 180 words I have covered till this point itself. So here I have already covered 180 words before writing the summary. So even if you don't write the summary, as far as task completion is concerned, you have already done everything that is required, right? You have written the summary, you have drawn comparison, and you have written about all the three graphs. So even if you don't write the summary, it is absolutely fine. So where should you write the summary? In such scenarios where you have written everything and still you are less than 150 words, you could not meet the parameter of 150 words, then you should write this summary at the end. Otherwise, summary is nothing but the same content as you write in overall picture. Overall picture and summary is more or less the same. So why should you write the summary, right? So this is more tactical than a requirement of IELTS. In case you fall short of words and you want to summarize at the end, you should do it only when it is, you fall short of words. So that's the tactic that you can use. It's not a mandate by IELTS or by DP or British Council that you should write a summary every time, because overall picture is pretty much like a summary. So even if I write up to this, it is absolutely fine. You can go through this answer. You can also see the graph. You can take a picture of it. This is what it is, or this is what it is, this is the question, and this is how you should write about a bar chart, right? Everything is written here, and that's how you should go about it, right? uh, the best way to practice is to use some prepared content and then write it. Don't write essays or don't write graphs on your own. I'll give you a link with regard to all such examples. All that you have to do is read the examples and answer them. All the best to you. Thank you so much.